Every time they talk about the frill of this creature, I imagine the frill of that dinosaur in the first Jurassic Park movie, the one that like spits acid. It's like it's like jazz hands, but for your neck. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jason, or as you may know me, Easy Cat. Either way, I'm just glad you're here. Today we are going to be starting a new board game playthrough of a game called Lands of Galzyr. My favorite board game theme is critters going on adventures, and that is exactly what this game is. We are going to take a character, they're going to go out into a world, they're going to explore it, they're going to have adventures. It's going to be a grand old time. Surely nothing will go wrong. Much like Mythwind, which we played before, this board game plays out over several months. In fact, the board actually has two sides, a summer side and a winter side. So if we make it to winter, we'll flip the board and everything will be snowy and beautiful. Before I jump into explaining the game and kind of getting into this world, I want to mention a couple quick things. Obviously, this is YouTube, so if you're enjoying what you're seeing, make sure to like and subscribe. I'd love to see you back here again sometime. I do want to mention that this is not a paid or sponsored video, however, but the lovely folks at Snowdale Design who did make this game did in fact send me this copy to check out. Hopefully by the end of this video, they do not regret that. Okay, let's get this box out of the way. Now, Lands of Galzyr is a story-based adventure game. That means that most of the mechanics of what I'm going to be doing are essentially moving my character around the board and then playing out what are called scenes, which are basically little story moments. Now, if you've played games like this before, you'll be familiar that a lot of times you'll have like a number that you'll have to reference on a card or in a book. Lands of Galzyr actually uses a storybook, which is completely digital. I do want to mention, because sometimes when I mention app-based games, which I love, people get a little heated. This is not an app. It is all fully done through a website. The website does not keep your information from session to session. All of the things that stay persistent on your character from game to game are on your character. So items and upgrades to their stats, things like that. This is just a website, and you can actually download the entire book of stories to a device, be that a tablet or an iPad, a phone, a computer, and you can look through it entirely offline. So you only would need internet to get it in the first place, and then you would never need internet to use it again, which is pretty cool. Hopefully that lowered the blood pressure of some of the people that get a little worked up when we talk about things like apps. Now, much like Mythwind, which we played before, this game also plays out over months and seasons. So what you're seeing right now is the summer side of the board, but on the other side of the board is the winter side. So if we get far enough, we'll also get to see everything get frosty and snowy and beautiful. We've got a few cards which will come into play in a moment. Down here, we've got a notice board. So any of these places where you see these little purple tokens, I can go into town and I can pick up a quest, and then I can go out in the land and try and do that quest. I've also over here got a whole bunch of cards, and certain things will make us pull out cards. Those could add anything from events to items to companions that want to travel with me. I don't know why anyone would want to travel with me, because I'm a lot, but maybe someone will. Now, there are several characters we could have played. We could have chosen a Sala, the bird, Boomir, the one-eyed ferret fellow, Caridai, the newt. I almost chose Caridai, but I ended up going with Moor. So Moor is a frilled lizard. His main things he's good at are talking his way out of situations. He also is a little bit knowledgeable. He's got a little bit of combat skill. He has no survival. We are not campers, okay? He also does not have any perception, so he's not going to notice things. That seems very on brand for me. And I think he's bad at stealing things as well, which, I mean, makes sense. We have some money. He also has just the most wonderful little orange hat. I think that's why I chose him. I really liked the hat. This is him. Look at him! He's so cute. He's going to start off the board because we don't know where we're starting yet. We'll get into that when we get into our adventure here in just a moment. The game is going to play out in days, so I have this little day marker, which I will put on a certain spot here in a moment once we get the game like fully set up and we're jumping in. But every day, we'll see more move a little bit, and then we'll see more do some form of event, be it a quest or it's something in town, or you never know. We might find some other fun things to do out here in this wide world. Now, I don't want to bombard you with, like, text to tell you about this whole world right off the bat, because there's going to be a lot of text today. This is a very, like, it's kind of like a cross between a board game and a choose-your-own-adventure game, which I love that kind of stuff. Hopefully you'll enjoy the story and the adventure that we go on as well. It comes with this Welcome to Galzyr, like, pamphlet. It's like something you would pick up at a visitor center. I'll probably read some of this as we go, like as we go to the different towns, just so you can get a little bit of flavor text and kind of immerse yourself into this world with me. But right off the bat, when you open the game, it has a whole bunch of things you kind of have to set up before your first playthrough. One, of course, being like getting these little player boards ready to go, getting all the cards in the right place, and on the back, it has some fun information about the world, about this land, and about the characters. So I thought we would at least start there, give you a little bit to get us going, learn a little bit about more our character, and then we'll jump in. Alright, so first of all, let's learn a little bit about Dimeria, which is the world of animal folks. In the world of Dimeria, intelligent animal folks have risen to build civilizations, each with their own defining traits and unique cultures. There are reckless polecats, scheming magpies, enthusiastic turtles, and many other colorful folks with their own attitudes towards life. Listen, if we don't meet an enthusiastic turtle, I'm gonna scream, okay? In the current age of trade, animal folks are more interconnected than ever before. The discovery of steam power and other great inventions have transformed society, easing travel and supercharging industry. This newfound prosperity has brought stability and cooperation, as well as an unprecedented prestige to capable merchants. However, even amidst all of that, some folks have never lost their love for adventure. This sounds so cozy and delightful. I do want to take a second to mention that this game can be played with 1 to 4 players. I'm just going to be playing one character, playing one player, but you can play with up to 4 players, and the game actually has some mechanics where when you go on do certain events and play certain scenes, you can play them out with like a scene partner, so like the other person can actually be in the scene with you. So that's really cool too, so just something to keep in mind if you decide you want to play this with other people. If you're playing with other people, you can also choose to play cooperatively or competitively, so you have that option as well. Now we're going to be playing more, so let's learn a little bit more about more. I promise not to do that every time I talk about the character. I love a play on words so much. More is a boisterous, frilled lizard from Australia who loves nothing more than a good story. You know what? Same. Sociable to a fault. Not same. He lives for the thrills of hearing others' tales and talking their ears off in turn. But he has never forgotten where his passion originates from, and has journeyed to Galzyr to find the very source. And finally, let's find out what's going on in the land of Galzyr. Over the years, many seekers of adventures have set their sights on Galzyr, a diverse region by the Black Sea where Europe and Asia meet, and Galzyr has only one thing to say in response: they've come to the right place. Being a polecat territory, it is a place where boldness and risk-taking are held in high regard, and fame naturally follows those who brave the unknown and leave their mark on the world. So that's a little bit more about the land and what we're going to be doing in it. Now, according to our app, we are starting on a Tuesday. I feel good about that. Now, we have a couple of global events that are going on. So it is currently March in our world. Winter starts to give way to spring, and the first signs of life emerge from under the melting snow. Liveliness returns to many folks' faces as if coming out of hibernation. So this tells us to use the summer side of both the game board and location cards, and we'll be replacing this card at the end of this month. And then we are going to be doing our global. When you start playing, you can either choose to play cooperatively or competitively. Obviously, if you're playing solo, you're playing cooperatively, because who are you going to compete against? Yourself. And so we are using this harmony card. So our goal is to reach your true potential by ignoring needless distractions. I feel like my ADHD is not going to be great at ignoring needless distractions, but I'm willing to try if you are. So according to this card, we're going to be playing out over 8 days. So I'm going to put one of these here to remind us, and then I'm going to put one on our day tracker, just so we can keep track of where we are and we know when the day ends. So from here we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we start on Tuesday and we'll end next Wednesday. Don't worry, we'll play through that whole thing in this video. You don't have to check back every day until we get to next Wednesday. Now, More has this special adventure status. So this says, your imagination, empathic nature manifests in a peculiar understanding of others and the world. When inspiration strikes, your heart can guide you. So in certain skill checks, I can discard this to get 1 success. Then I may roll the 12-sided die, and based on that, I can get more successes or I can lose a success. So that's kind of something fun that I'm able to use. And then we start out with this card. So normally the first thing you'll do in a game is you'll get to put your character on the board. But in the first game, you won't get to do that because you're starting your adventure. And if you are not on the board, you can't move. So the first thing we're going to be probably doing is this specific adventure card to get things rolling. So our first adventure is called Chasing Legends. You've come to Galzyr in search of Whitefang, the hero of your favorite childhood stories. And there's no better way to start than from the very beginning. All right, well, I think we're ready to jump in. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. I do want to mention this is my very first time playing this game. I've obviously read the rulebook. I've watched a couple how to play videos. So if you see me doing anything incorrectly, feel free to let me know in the comments, but be nice about it. It's my first time playing. We're here to have a little bit of fun. We're here to tell a little bit of a story. If I get something wrong, I'm sure we'll be able to fix it in the future. Last thing I want to mention before we jump in, you have been warned. There will obviously be spoilers in this video. So if this is a game you're planning to play or you're really excited about playing, you don't want any spoilers, we're going to be spoiling stuff because all of this game is story. So you're going to be seeing story play out over the course of this video. So if you're really concerned about spoilers, I would duck away now and wait till you've at least played your first game. We're going to be playing through just the first month of the game. So if you're worried about the spoilers, go away now and come back later. Otherwise, let's get started. Well, since we can't move, I think we're going to start our very first day by doing this very first adventure. Finally, you've arrived. At the beginning of the first page of a great story, you peer down at the outskirts of a town nestled between great mountains, like in a cradle. It looks unassuming at a glance, but appearances can be deceiving, as once upon a time, a legend was born here. Hurrying along the forest road, you can barely contain yourself as you imagine the adventure ahead. After all, you've dreamed of this since you were a young, frilled lizard. You'd follow in the footsteps of your hero, and you'd make this story your own. I sound very ambitious. I feel like there was a time when I was as ambitious as this. Now I'm just like, you go on ahead. I'm tired. I'm gonna find a place to sit. All right, so my adventurer's figure, my little Moor here, is going to go to a town called Chabar. So we're gonna go there. We're gonna put our character there. Let's see what our pamphlet we got on the way into town says about Chabar. An idyllic town in a more idyllic location. Chabar is described as a natural paradise by many visitors. Located as it is in a verdant valley between awe-inspiring mountain ranges. Sounds great. Why do we have to leave? Let's just live here. Chabar's biggest draw is the soothing heat of its many hot springs, born of nearby volcanic activity. Now I'm less excited to live here. There's volcanoes nearby? Absolutely not. It is a fantastic vacation destination, especially when snow falls and the ski resort opens for those looking for more excitement. Yeah, more excitement. You're gonna be skiing away from an active volcano. I'm stressed. First of all, skiing is stressful in the first place. You're literally just on a pair of toothpicks careening down a hill, and now you've got lava coming behind you? No, we have to get out of here. We have to get out of this town right away. I guess we'll look around, see if they have any sandwiches or anything first, so let's head into town. As you approach Chabar, your frill... I'm sorry, I visualized it. Like, every time they talk about the frill of this creature, I imagine the frill of that dinosaur in the first Jurassic Park movie, the one that, like, spits acid. It's like... It's like jazz hands, but for your neck. Your frill unfolds as your imagination races. In a flash, you're back sitting in your grandma's lap, listening to her stories. Among those, tales of White Fang's adventures were always your favorites, and you heard them over and over, eyes wide in childlike wonder. Now those same stories were coming to life right before those same eyes. You're like, oh my god, I remember that sandwich. That was in that story. Rumors say that no one's seen the legendary adventurer in years, decades even. No one knows where he's gone or even what his real name is. But that's about to change because you've decided to meet your idol in person. So this is the story of how Moor got a restraining order from the famous adventurer White Fang. I'm a fanboy, is basically who I am. I've come all the way to this new land because I'm such a fanboy. You even brought along the treasure your grandma gave you, your prized possession that once belonged to White Fang himself. Okay, we get a random 100 card from the library. All right, I'm picking a random card. So the prized item that once belonged to the great adventurer White Fang is refreshing juice. Ah yes, my young Moor, let me give you the prize of White Fang, his refreshing juice. Don't drink it all in one place. Oh my god. I am unwell. Okay, I did that correctly. Okay, hold on. What does it do? Maybe it does something amazing. Freshly squeezed. I don't think it is, actually. I don't think it was freshly squeezed, if I'm being completely honest. Strong juice can have an intense effect on your mental and physical abilities. I mean, at this point, it has fermented into alcohol, okay? So it could definitely have an effect on my physical and mental capabilities. I can use this in certain skill checks. Okay, great. I love that. Ah, yes, the adventurer's famous refreshing juice. Oh, we're off to a grand old start. In the town, you meet a group of eager polecat cubs who join your way to a humble, ordinary-looking farmhouse. It's actually far from ordinary, however, but a local attraction, the childhood home of White Fang. The inside looks like a museum filled with memorabilia of White Fang's many adventurers and visitors examining them, except one area which looks to be a bedroom closed off by a velvet rope at the doorway. Is all this really related to him? I wish I would have asked that question when I was given this juice. Standing there, you close your eyes and immerse yourself in your hero's legacy and story, now closer than ever before. When you open your eyes again, the cubs are looking at you, wanting to see why you came here. How should you proceed in this pilgrimage of yours? I can investigate the memorabilia, or I can sneak into the bedroom. First of all, let me just mention, I'm bad at both things, okay? But it looks like I would be better equipped to investigate the memorabilia. So maybe I should do that. Let's try it. Okay, so the way that skill checks work in this game is we have these 5 dice. Now, I can exchange these dice with dice from the category that it is in, that the skill check is in, as well as the categories that are to the left and right of that category. So this is a perception check. So I can use perception die, which I don't have any because I don't perceive things at all. But I can also add my communication die into this. So I'm going to replace 2 of these with 2 communication die to give myself a little bit better chance at being successful at this thing, okay? This is a medium level check, so hopefully I'm just observing. I'm literally just like looking at things. Is my perception that bad that I could look right at something and not know what I'm doing? You also get the opportunity to re-roll in this game. So you can roll once, and then you can choose to re-roll all of your die if you want, and you can also use skills in between that too, so just something to keep in mind. Okay. Okay, so we got 1 success. I don't know. Should we try again? I mean, I could do this. This allows me to add a success to the roll. Then I'm already discarding this card. I'm using my special ability on the first skill check of the game. Let's just re-roll and see what happens, and then I'll decide, okay? Hold on. I did exactly the same. I got 1 success. Just 1. You know what? I'm just going to use my card. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to use this skill check. I may discard this to get 1 success, and then I can roll the 12-sided die to get another. So I'll discard this, and I have 3 successes total. That seems better than my 1 little piddly success. You control your excitement for the moment and carefully inspect everything. Maps, newspaper articles, and lots of adventuring gear. Even a painting of a huge cloaked figure on a mountaintop. All kinds of things are on display. Intuitively, you know that most of the gear is way too new to have belonged to Whitefang. But to your delight, you do recognize some from the stories. You explain your findings to the cubs, who listen spellbound as you go through the collection item by item. All I'm going to say is, clearly there's some fraud being done on Whitefang's behalf, because Whitefang branded refreshing juice? Come on now. That didn't belong to him. Somebody has taken advantage of the good old Whitefang name. By the time you're done, you see that you've gathered quite a crowd. Besides the cubs, other visitors have gathered around to listen as well. Well, that's great. Everybody's listening to me tell my little story. Everyone's looking at you, waiting to see what you'll do next. Your ambitions, spurred by Whitefang, yearn to be heard, but so do your favorite stories of his, which this journey has brought to the fore. Let's see, so I can declare my ambitions, or I can recall Whitefang's adventures. I think I'm going to declare my ambitions because it's a medium, but it's in the thing that I'm good at. Like, it's a communication test, and I'm good at that as a character, not as a person. Okay, so I get to put in my 2 communication die, but I'm also going to swap another one out for a knowledge die because that's an adjacent skill, so I can put in one of those dice as well. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so we got 2 successes. I mean, that feels pretty good. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to say 2 successes is good, okay? You give a passionate speech stating that you'll be the one to find Whitefang, proudly bearing his torch and becoming a great adventurer yourself. The crowd responds to your declaration with cheers, happy faces, and well wishes. Not quite everyone seems sure, but you're certain they'll learn soon enough after they witness you in action. Satisfied, you're eager to continue to Sarawar to seek out Whitefang's old enemy. But before you can, the cubs run to you, and they're carrying something. "We found this lying around," one says, "and we want you to have it. Tell Whitefang we said hi." I earned 2 prestige. Well, that's exciting. Prestige is sort of like points in a solo or cooperative game. It tells you, it sort of keeps track of like how well you did, so just so you know. So these kids gave me, it's random, they gave me glasses. Okay. They saw me like getting real close to things because I have no perception, so I was like getting really close trying to read things, and they're like, that frilly lizard, that frilly man, he needs some glasses. So they gave me some glasses. An old owl folktale tells of an exceptionally cunning detective. She wore extremely prominent glasses, which helped her find anything or anyone, until she lost said glasses, that is. Thanks, kids! Now I have juice and glasses. I'm slowly becoming my grandmother. We also got this. So now we have a new quest. This is Chasing Legends 2. So you strengthened your resolve by visiting the birthplace of White Fang, your hero. Now you just have to find him and to make your dream come true. Easy peasy. You should go question Keferet, White Fang's old storied enemy. This cannot be abandoned, and I have to visit Keferet's home, which is in Sarawar, which is over here. This town here, so I'm not too far away. I'm just gonna use my Apple Pen as like a pointer. I'm using it for my app. I might as well just like point to things with it. I think it works. Okay, so that's the end. I mean, that's our first day. We did a thing. We went to a place. Quite a bit happened. We got glasses. We got juice. We're here. We met some children. It was a whole thing. Okay, so let's go to day 2. So we're gonna move on to Wednesday. Now, I need to go to Sarawar, but I can only move 1, 2. I can only move 2 spaces, so there's no quest that I can take here just yet. So I think I'm gonna make my way to Sarawar. So we're gonna go 1, 2. Doesn't look like there are any other like scenes that I can do right now, so we're just gonna do like an event. So when you draw an event, we're gonna have to go to the first thing on this that we come to on this card. So the first thing is the adventurer is shocked. We don't have any. We're not shocked. We don't have any shocked anythings. We're not at a settlement. We're in the mountains. Yes, okay, so mountains. So we're gonna go to 0241. It's not often you meet a manel. A manel? A manel? What is a manel? Manels strive to become masters in whatever field they pursue, yet no matter how skillful they are, they tend to be very clumsy. That doesn't tell me what it is. But it looks like a cat. It looks like a very fluffy cat. A manel? Have you guys ever heard of that before? A manel? It's not often you meet one sitting on a large boulder by the side of a mountain road, but it appears today is your lucky day. I've always wanted to meet a manel. I am Kasim, a pilgrim, sort of, explains the cat when you ask why he's sitting on the rock. He wraps his tail around his fingers nervously. There's an old mountain shrine nearby. Many travel to give offerings and receive, blessings. It's a tradition started by the pirate queen Longclaw. Kasim puts his tail to his mouth and breathes fog through his thick tail. It's just, I get easily lost. The last time I was outside a settlement, I couldn't find my way back for a month. Do I have the thievery tag? That seems like a weird question to be asking me when I come upon this random cat in the woods. Okay, the answer is no. I do not have the thievery tag. Okay, so I can explore the mountains for the shrine. I can recall what you know about Longclaw. Or I can just leave. I think I'm going to recall what I know about Longclaw because that looks like it's going to be easier for me to accomplish. Because it is a knowledge test. Okay. Oh, what's that doing? I mean, I got 3 successes. I feel real good about that, so I'm going to take it. You can't remember all there is to know about Longclaw, but you do recall she has her shrines built on the north faces of mountains on wide plateaus. I mean, for someone who can't recall a lot, that seems very specific. You examine the north face and find it almost immediately. Kasim immediately scrapes the coin from the mossy stone shrine into his bag. Never said I was the one planning to leave offerings, the cat chuckles, but his face pales when he sees that some of the coins are flecked with blood. More memories of Longclaw flood back to you. The pirate queen's brutality and ruthlessness. Horrified, you flee, shock flooding your bodies. Kasim stays by yourself, hoping the shock will subside better with a companion. He also says he has a lead on something big in Arhin. Alright, we earn 1 prestige. Alright, first of all, we get the card Shocked, so we are now shocked. Your mind is haunted by your latest dreadful experiences, making you unable to fully focus on any tasks at hand. You can only wish you had acted differently. In skill checks, you cannot use your skill marks matching the check. Well, that's upsetting, and I have to do that for 3 turns. Woof. Okay, so let's put a marker on this so we remember. 1, 2, 3. That's terrible. And then we also get Kasim is going to come with us. So the clumsy master of stealth. Oh, but he can be kind of helpful. It looks like he can help us with stealth with thieving checks, and he's with us for 5 turns. And it looks like he gives us a possible quest that we can do in Arhin. Oh, but that's all the way down here. That's so far away. That brings us to Thursday. I need to go to Sarawar. That's like my destination, so that's where we're going first. Let's see what our guide has to say about Sarawar. Despite the common belief, Sarawar offers much more than its metal industry and military presence. It sounds great already. The city has a long, in many ways glorious history and rich traditions that it strongly upholds. All that and more is put on display in the Ducal Museum. Visiting the expansive city park gives a taste of the citizens' strong sense of unity in the form of many fantastic outdoor events and musical performances held there. I'm gonna be honest with you. This sounds like a terrifying place. I don't like it here. I want to leave. I mean, it has war in the name of the town. We need to go. Okay, so I am going to do my quest that I need to do here. All right, we're going to visit Kafarit's home. This was White Fang's old enemy. You knock on the door of the imposing manor near the market. Rather than size, it is the subdued, measured elegance that makes the two-story house stand out. The yard is impeccably cut, the rose bushes neat, and even the open window on the second floor glimmers cleanly in the sun. It's the perfect home for the villain. Inside awaits White Fang's old enemy, Kafarit. Your intuition tells you she, if anyone, knows where the legendary adventurer has gone. Who are you? A big crocodile asks as he opens the door. Proudly, you state you're a famous adventurer on an important quest. Apparently we're just lying about things now. The moment you mention White Fang, however, the crocodile slams the door in your face. Rude, but your sure heroes of stories wouldn't be stopped by just that. This is so interesting. So I can't use any of my skills at this point, but I can either unlock the door or climb through the window. Totally normal things for a person to do. However, Kasim can help me do that because he has this really cool thing where I can roll a die and he can potentially give me 3 successes right off the bat. So I think since he's schlumming it with me anyway, I'm going to have him help me open this door. So let's see what we get. 7. Okay, so we already have 3 successes. Now we need to, let's see if we can get any more. I actually did get one more. Just one more though. So I have 4 successes. Take that, shocked card that makes my life really difficult. In no time at all, you pry the lock open and walk in, uninvited. A short way in, you find yourself in a living room, at the end of a luxurious dining table. On the opposite side sits a small figure who you've caught during mealtime. Who are you, and what are you doing in my house? The old dwarf crocodile asks, pulling off her napkin and pointing her cane at you. She must be Kafarit then. You ask if she knows where White Fang is nowadays. What happened to hi? Hello. How are you? We broke in, this old biddy's just trying to have dinner, and we're like, tell us where he... We have no tact whatsoever. Her expression sours in a flash, and she spits out her next words like rotten grapes. Of course I do, but why do you invoke that wretched name during my mealtime at that? You gladly take the opportunity to launch into a well-practiced spiel of your childhood hero, but right then, a bigger crocodile walks in, carrying a food tray. Get him, Brick, Kafarit shouts. Let's teach this mouthy intruder a lesson. I can fight the crocodiles. I feel like that's the wrong choice. I can try to intimidate Kafarit, or I can offer to pay for the information. I have 10 gold on my person. Let's not go crazy. Let's pay for the information. You know what? Let's just use some money. I mean, 4 gold seems like a lot, but I'm not at my best right now. I'm shocked. I'm being trailed by a deranged cat. Like, let's just pay. Getting a feeling how this dwarf crocodile operates, you pull out some gold and offer to make a deal instead. At that, Kafarit stops. A deal, huh? You're more reasonable than I thought. In a flash, her anger turns to joviality as she turns to her underling. I like him. Get us a map, paper, and some ink. I love this crocodile lady. She's my favorite. You soon arrive to a mutually beneficial deal. In exchange for your gold, Kafarit gives you the location where the White Fang retired after his adventures. As you're about to leave, she addresses you once more. You know, my recommendation carries a lot of weight in certain circles, and you shall have it. However, I ask for a favor in turn. When you find that wretch, insult him for me. Say something that really bites his big ego. She's petty. It's not about violence. She's just like, call him a mean name for me. I want him to know it came from me. I earn a prestige. Because of course I do. Okay, so a couple of things. We got the next part of our quest. Following in White Fang's footsteps, you clashed with his old enemy, and you found out that the legendary adventurer retired to the countryside near Rienstum. It is time to meet your hero and bring this chapter to a close. Okay, so we have to go to Rienstum, which is here. Okay, but that's good because we're trying to get to Arhin as well for this kitty fellow. So I'm actually okay going in that direction. That feels good to me. We also got this. So Favor of Underworld. You've done a great service to a powerful person in the shadows, and they famously repay their debts. In the right situation, that can be more valuable than any gold. So we have this thing now, which is like a favor from the underworld. That's pretty cool. Okay, great. All right, so now we head into our next day. So now we're to Friday. We need to get to Rienstum, which is here. So let's set out on our adventure. I mean, there's lots of things we could do here, but I feel like the days are going quick. I feel like if we want to do all of the things we want to do, we need to, like, get a moving. So let's go 1, 2. So we're back in the mountains. I think I have to do an event. All right, here we go. While walking, a chinchilla... Can I just tell you guys a story for a second? When I was younger, I really wanted a chinchilla, and I eventually owned 2 as pets. And I had a, like, little canister. It was, like, one of those oatmeal, like, containers. And I used paper to turn it into a chinchilla. And I took it to school every day and put it on my desk. And it was my chinchilla fund. So if people wanted to put, like, spare change in it, they could to help me raise money for a chinchilla. So in case you were wondering if I've always been this weird, the answer is yes. Anyway, while walking, a chinchilla runs past you, turns on her heel, and clings to your leg. "Help me! Please help! Please!" she squeaks. She barks at something behind you. "I'm being followed! You have to help me!" As portended, a large polecat and a crocodile approach you, eyes hard as they size you up. Bending down on his knees to match the chinchilla's height, the crocodile mockingly says, "Who's your new friend there, sweetie?" "Yeah, you two look cute together," the polecat laughs, drawing her blade and giving it a twirl. "Listen, stranger, just hand her over and you spend the rest of your day in one piece." The chinchilla refuses to let go of your leg. "Thank you for defending me," as if she gave you a choice. Do you have the underworld tag? That is wild because we literally just got the underworld tag from that lady crocodile who was like, "Here's a favor for a favor." These 2 thugs give you the impression that they are muscle for some criminal element, meaning they answer to someone, and you might just happen to be in touch with someone who's in tight with their boss. If you intimidate, each boaster tag gives you 1 success. I am a boaster. Or I could just give my letter to them. I feel like I might need this letter for something, though. I don't know that I want to use it right now. Should I give them my letter? Oh, this is so hard. I mean, I just got this letter. I wish I didn't have this stupid shocked thing, because then I would be able... if I didn't have that, I would feel really good about trying to intimidate them. I'm going to try to intimidate them. Let's just do it. I can roll twice. Let's see what happens. This is probably the wrong choice. Okay, so that would give us 1 more success. Let me try re-rolling. Okay. Okay, so actually, that's 3. That's a really good roll. And I have the 1 from my boaster tag. So that's 4 successes. That feels really good. Trying your hardest to be menacing, you tell the 2 that they will be in a world of hurt if they bother your new friend. "Well, we'll just have to carve you up then," the polecat threatens as she gives her blade a flick. Resting a scaled claw on her shoulder, the crocodile stares at you, sizing you up. "Not worth the trouble," he determines, and the 2 thugs quickly leave. Once they are gone and out of earshot, the chinchilla starts thanking you. "I took out a bad loan from their boss, who then started asking higher payments from me. He sent those 2 after me to make short work of me. You just saved me." You tell the chinchilla to be more careful, and she apologizes for troubling you. I earn a prestige, and then we get a new event to shuffle into our event deck. Alright, so now we move on to Saturday, and because it is Saturday, we get to get rid of our shocked status, which is wonderful, because that was driving me crazy. All right, we've made it to the weekend here in Galzyr. We're going to continue working our way towards Rienstum, because that is our destination. So let's go 1, 2. Okay, so we are on the grasslands now. I was going to take an event, but instead, we actually are where we're supposed to go. I was going to Rienstum, but this is actually supposed to happen 1 space east of Rienstum. So I'm going to do that now. So this is part of our quest. So we must be like heading towards the city. Kaferit's instructions lead you to farmland in Kamanu Plains, but that's it. There are fields and scattered houses as far as the eye can see, and White Fang could be anywhere. Undeterred, you pick a modest farmhouse nearby where you see a small, lesser white-toothed shrew with a straw in his mouth, tending to a broken cart. You ask if he's seen White Fang. He scoffs. "You couldn't imagine the number of folks who ask that. Why y'all looking for him anyway?" You state that you, Moore, will become great and strong like him, an adventurer of legends. But he just laughs. "You? I bet even I'm stronger than you. Can you even move this cart, much less folks' hearts? The nerve of this shrew. First he doubts your imagination, and now this! I can deduce White Fang's whereabouts by myself, which is probably the better thing to do, or I can force the cart to move. I'm gonna deduce White Fang's whereabouts by myself, because, quite frankly, I don't feel good about me moving that cart. I'm a little frilly lizard. I'm not that person, okay? That is 4 successes. I feel really good about that. When you think about it, a lot seems off about this story. A giant hiding in plain sight, the contradictory descriptions, Kafarit's behavior. On a whim, you walk to the shrew's familiar-looking farmhouse and he moves aside, a toothy grin on his face. The inside looks much like the one in Shabar, complete with a bunch of memorabilia, especially adventuring gear. Figured it out, huh? The shrew says from the door. Go ahead. Help yourself. You may swap one of your skill markers for any other skill marker. Oh. Honestly, I kind of like where my skill markers are, so I'm not going to change anything. I feel like so far we've been pretty good. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it the way it is. Surprised? White Fang asks. Not quite how you expected from the stories. He spreads his small arms wide. The power of imagination. That's what creates a legend. You plant the seeds and cultivate your own story, not those who write it down. They weren't there. They don't know the details. He looks at the cart, then back at you. One more test, young adventurer. Tell me your story. How you found me, what you used, and how important everything was. Go above and beyond. Impress me. I can refuse to play his game, or I can convince him with a story. I think I'm going to convince him with a story. Of course. That's the whole thing, right? This is the moment. This is the moment where I get to tell a story. All right? I think I'm gonna re-roll. I'm gonna take my re-roll because that was not very good. All right, we got 4 successes. I feel pretty good about that. Hopefully that's enough. I feel like it has to be, right? Okay, let's go. Let's see. You spread your frill wide and regale a tale of heroic Lizard's quest to find his childhood idol. You spare no detail, no emotion about the humble beginnings, meeting with a fated enemy, and finally reaching the goal only to learn that sometimes stories are greater than truth. White Fang stares at you for a long time after you finish, quieter than you've seen him, before finally speaking up. You might just become a legend and a boaster to surpass me. Suddenly, he runs into his house and returns with a backpack on and a torn piece of paper in his hand. The latter he hands to you. Let's go find new adventures, Moore. I won't let you take my crown just like that. You wouldn't have it any other way. Oh my god, he's coming with us? So we earn 2 prestige for that, which is pretty cool. And then I got a random treasure hunt quest, so that's really cool. This is something at Sarawar with a clue tag, so I can go there and then... Oh, I see. I have to go there, and then I have to get information to go find the next treasure. So that's kind of interesting. So that's like a quest. And then I also got Helavan, Lesser White-Toothed Shrew. Helavan's shrewdness and storytelling prowess created the legend of White Fang. Nowadays, few remember what he actually looks like. And he lets me, before a skill check, I may replace the test skill with an adjacent skill. So that's pretty cool. And then he just gives me extra rewards in certain skill checks. So that's also very cool. Okay, so he gets to stay with us for 4 turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he'll leave at the end of this day. So we'll put that there. And that brings us to Sunday. By the end of Monday, or by the time we hit Monday, which is tomorrow, I'm going to lose the cat, and I cannot get to Arhin in time to do that. So it's not going to happen, unfortunately, because I'd have to go 1, 2. Yeah, I'm not going to make it there. So then let's look at this treasure hunt instead. So that would take us back to Sarawar. I think we could do that. Yeah, let's head back to Sarawar and see if we can do this treasure hunt before the end, before we finish out the week. So I'm going to go 1, 2, to go in that direction. I should have picked up this quest while I was in Sarawar. What was I thinking? Well, I can get it when I go back through this time, so that's fine. Okay, so we're in the mountains. So we're going to do an event. Mountain trails are never easy to traverse. Hard on the knees, and the altitude can make you dizzy. Now here, a stink as powerful as it is revolting slips up your nostrils. It's bad enough that the air up here is already so thin. Now it has been tainted by this noxious presence. Not even the most pungent stink of death could produce this unworldly funk. The rest of the day's trip through the trail wasn't bad until you were clotheslined by this horrid smell. The wind, whose job it is to keep the air fresh, didn't show up for work today. There is a real threat that this may be with you for the rest of the trip. It's enough to consider finding and removing the offending progenitor of it. What a quest we're on to find... This is the quest of who smelt it, dealt it. I do have a scent tag, actually, so that gives me 2 successes. So that's not bad. I'm gonna do the explore. Explore the area for the smell. All right, let's see what we get. All right, so that puts us at 3 successes. Let's just see. Let's hope that that's enough. Either bravely or stupidly, you explore the adjoining mountain trails to find the culprit of this evil smell. While you move about, this smell fades and strengthens at times, which you can't pin down to any one location. Is its source moving? Maybe that is why you can't find it. If you ever smell this again before you die, it'll be too soon. It is one fragrance you will never forget. Your exploring isn't for naught, as you found an item. It's neat, but thankfully not stinky. The smell is nearby, stronger than ever, and threatens to suffocate you. Without wanting to ditch everything you ate today, you make off with the item. It's nice to be compensated for having to endure that smell. So we got a doctor's bag, medical equipment, and a healthy dose of self-confidence fit together nicely. All right, so that sadly brings us to Monday. And our friend Kasim leaves us. He's done. He's like, you're not going on my adventure. You don't care about me. No one cares about me. And he's leaving. That's too bad. I really could not have gotten where he needed to go, though. There just was not enough time. I mean, I moved every single turn that I could move, and still, there was no time. All right, so let's head into Sarawar, and then let's look into this treasure situation, right? Okay, so the treasure wants us to go to the museum. Following the cryptic revelations of your treasure map, you find yourself standing in front of Sarawar's Ducal Museum. You flip your map to see a sketch, a golden ocelot amulet, hundreds of years old, large and circular. It must be in the museum somewhere. The place is thronged with visitors, all clamoring to get a good look at the star exhibit, fully preserved suits of armor from the age of sophistication. You slip through and explore the side rooms, finding the amulet in a dingy glass cabinet with a shoddy lock. Captain Washira's gold amulet, reads the plaque. To get a proper look, especially at the back of it, you could shatter the glass, but there's way too many tourists to witness that. Do you have a partner or at least one companion? I definitely have a companion, so yes. You can ask your friend to create a distraction, which you can use to grab the amulet. I think I'm going to ask my friend to create a distraction. I mean, I can also unlock the glass cabinet, which it says is easy. I'm going to ask my friend. You can't see this on the app, but it's like little stars are sparkling on the ask your friend to make a distraction. And so I'm like, maybe that's what I'm supposed to do. Your companion moves to the next room with perhaps a little too much excitement in their step. This, by the way, is Helavan, the guy we just picked up, the shrew that was White Fang. He's the one that's over there like, woo, look at me. You lurk behind the cabinets for a bit, then hear a great crashing noise from the next room. It goes on for nearly 10 seconds, followed by the gentle tinkling of glass and the sound of metal plate going rung, 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 rung. Whatever they've done, it works. Your room is soon empty of tourists and security alike, and you quickly smash the cabinet without anyone noticing and pocket the amulet for further study. Woshira's amulet is covered in markings just like your treasure map showed, but they don't match what you have. But this is definitely the right amulet. Referring back to your treasure map, you realize that you also require Woshira's scepter. You turn to see the scepter being held by a massive statue of Woshira, balanced on top of a high pedestal. It seems your adventure isn't over, so I can climb up the pedestal, or I can think of an alternative solution. I think I'm going to think of an alternative solution. I don't think I'm much for the way of climbing. Please. 3. 4. Oh, 4. From what you can see of the exhibit, Woshira's scepter isn't unique. From the notes on the back of the map, all you need is one with a purple gem in the handle. The museum exhibit might have one that's also suitable. Yes, Chieftain Kunawa has a similar scepter, and her statue is at ground level. You thank her quickly, lifting her scepter up to examine the gem. Inspiration strikes you, and you use the gem to catch the sunlight from the window. Another breakthrough. The purple light reveals fresh inscriptions on the amulet's reverse. The ocelot treasure is located underground. Man, I am basically Lara Croft Tomb Raider over here, okay? You scribble down your findings, replace the amulet, and leave the museum with a fiery passion burning within you. Treasure is within your grasp. We earn 2 prestige. Okay, so we got some cool things. So we got this, which is inner fire. So your passion burns red hot and your body yearns for action. Anything to satisfy the fire within. In certain skill checks, I can hasten to keep this for longer, which is really cool. And then I also got this. This is promising lead. With both pieces of the puzzle, you have a clear direction for the final part of your hunt. The legendary treasure awaits. If you abandon the quest which gave you this card, discard. That's a clue. We love clues. Our journey is almost to an end. It is now Tuesday. Oh, this is really cool. Okay, so the way that these two cards work, the bottom of this card says closest grassland 2, and then it gives you on this where it's supposed to be, and then when you go there, you actually can put together the two numbers to find the treasure. That's really neat. So I have to go to the closest grassland to Rienstum. So we're going to head that way now. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get there before the end of the game. So maybe we do something in town and just stay here for now, because we're not going to be able to make it there. So we might as well just like hang out in town for a hot minute. Why don't I take this quest? I can take a quest while I'm here. We are looking for someone hardworking to help create the greatest paradise on Earth. If you possess dedication, teamwork, and self-motivation, please apply. It's building paradise. Our company is transforming a section of Maratu into a state-of-the-art vacation resort. No corner will be cut, nor any expense spared. I'll have work for you. Ask for me at the construction site, whose location is detailed below. Hope to see you soon. Fareen, the stump-tailed chameleon representative. That's in Maratu, which is way down here. So let's just hold on to that for now. Because this is our last day. So let's have our last day and let's go to the city park. Let's end in a nice place. Let's not be out in the woods dealing with whatever nonsense is out there, okay? How does that sound? The city park is a lively place. Everywhere you look, there are folks spending time, relaxing, and enjoying the nature, especially the extensive garden. Musicians of varying skill levels are playing, and several tents and booths have been set up offering trinkets, souvenirs, and various services and activities. A fortune teller's tent stands out from the sea of activity, not due to size, but the heavy dark fabrics and the ardent promises of a glimpse into your future for a modest fee. Hares, pangolins, and many others have queued up already to use her services. A performer called Stoneface is also present, challenging folks to get a reaction out of him. He's attracted quite the crowd around him as well. All right, so we can visit the fortune teller, we can visit Stoneface, or we can enjoy the music and nature. Honestly, I'm just going to enjoy the music and nature. Like, let's just end the day on a nice note. The life of an adventurer is always so hectic. Why not take a moment to sit in a nice calm reflection and enjoy the day? Finding a bench suitable for a comfortable stay, you plant your bottom on it and soak up the park's sights and sounds. Your enjoyment of the scene is halted when an energetic nightingale drops onto the same bench and begins wailing about his day. Then music, then the park's current visual gravitas, then how there is a fun play he's working on. Rapid is his beak, flapping open and closed, faster and faster. Is he even still speaking the same language? You don't know how much more of this you can take. I'm gonna listen to the nightingale. He seems like he needs to get some stuff off his chest. Well, you see, you must know who I am. World-renowned, the greatest actor, most handsome bird in the world. Otendo. I am currently working on a stage production in Hizembe that you should check out. He goes on to say how he'll follow you for a while to study you. Then he dumps a load of props on you and says you should take one to better prepare you for life of being a world-famous star. You tell Otendo that you'd be pleased to have him along and thank him for the props. Goodness, though, you are just glad he's not talking anymore. You may swap one of your skill marks for a communication skill mark or a perception skill mark. Ooh, interesting. I think I'm going to keep the things where they are, though. Oh, and here's Otendo. Otendo is coming with us. Having portrayed dozens of roles, Otendo knows how to please the crowd. Oh my god. I'm so glad he's joining us, said no one. And that brings us to our end. So the first thing that's going to happen is Helavan is leaving us, sadly. We had a good time with Helavan, but he's gonna be on his way. And then we're going to do this. So our Harmony card, when we reach the last day, is going to have us do it's going to have us go to one last event. After all the excitement, challenges, and adventure, it is time to unwind for a moment and reflect on your travels. You head to the nearest inn, intent on treating yourself to a well-deserved evening, celebrating this leg of your journey. Already from the outside, you can hear the sound of lively patrons, suggesting that the establishment is quite full once again. Despite the noise, all heads turn as you enter, curious to see the new arrival. I can throw a party for 5 gold. That's like almost all my money. I'm not doing that. Or celebrate alone. Listen, I'm celebrating alone. 5 gold. How much prestige did you get? I got 9. We did good. We did good. The jaws of everyone in the inn drop as you enter. Every single one of them recognizes you. Ignoring them, you sit down and order a drink. You have to ask for it twice as the innkeeper seems as awestruck as everyone else. While you work on the drink, everyone speaks in failed whispers about who you are. of all the wondrous, dangerous, and crazy things you have got up to, both good and ill. They are all totally captivated by you in streaks of awe or jealousy or obsession. Your glorious exploits will be recounted for generations to come. You are a living legend, a piece of Galzyr itself. Achievement unlocked. Legendary. Okay, that's kind of cool. So there are achievements. There's an achievement sheet. Actually, I'll show it to you. So this is the achievement sheet, so you can like get these achievements, which is really neat. It's just one side, but I just got the legendary achievement, so I'll have to mark that I got that. That's so neat. Okay, cool. So now it will teach me how to save the game. So it'll walk me through saving the game, and then it will ask me if I want to play another game right away. And then from there, I can choose if I want to keep going. What's really cool is this card for March will actually get replaced with the next month. So this will go back to here, and it will get replaced with May. So starting in May, we'll be continuing our adventure into the next month, which is really neat. And that is Lands of Galzyr. That is obviously the first game we played through it. It's very story-rich game, so there's a lot of like reading and experiencing stories. Now, in a multiplayer game, you would have one player read the story to the person whose turn it is, and that way they get to make the decisions, and that way it kind of keeps everybody involved. So multiple people, depending on who is taking the turn, the other people will read, so everybody would get a chance to read and tell the story, and other people would get a chance to make choices for their characters, move around. And like I said before, you can play this cooperatively, or you can play it competitively, which is really neat, so it has that variability to it as well. I loved this. I love choose your own adventure anything, and this is like choose your own adventure meets board game, moving around the board, and obviously we only discovered just like the bare minimum, right? I still have a treasure to find. I have characters with me. This story progresses as you play. So next time I would pick up right where I've left off with the same gold I have, with the same quests I'm on, with the same random nightingale following me around, and we would continue on our adventure and keep going around this land creating stories. I think this is great. I think there are a lot of games out there like this that are story rich, but they're much darker, and they have like really like dark themes, and they're kind of like, it's nice to have something like this that's a little bit lighter. Like this almost feels, this is like borderline like a cozy board game. Like this, the stakes never felt crazy high, even when things got a little out of control. There were always, I love that you had options, right? Like if you remember when I came upon those people that were like attacking that chinchilla, right? I had various options. I could try to talk my way out of it. I could fight them. So there are lots of ways that you can explore this world, and you don't have to just be like a fighter. You have a lot of options with how you play your character. And I love that my character's skills and abilities really played into my decisions. Like I would look at my character and be like, well, my character is good at talking their way out of situations, so that is what I should do. But if I had a different character who maybe was like better at like thieving or fighting, maybe I would have fought more, because maybe I would have felt like that was what I was better for, and that was like leaning more into my character. So I think that's really cool too. I am very excited to play more of this. I would love to know what you thought of this playthrough, and if you would like to see another month of this game, if you would like to go on another adventure with this character, maybe a different character, maybe we throw a second character. I don't know how this game would work with two characters. That might get a little crazy, and it might be a really long video. So I'd probably just stick with one character. But if you'd like to see more adventures in Galzyr, if you'd like to see what more gets up to next time in this world, feel free to let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on the game itself. Is this something you would play? Is this something that you think your game group would enjoy? I am also planning to do several other game playthroughs that are very story-driven games like this, some which have more combat, some which don't. So if there's a game you're interested in seeing me do a playthrough, feel free to drop that down below as well. I want to kind of create a mix of like some games that are a little bit smaller and shorter, and some games that are a little bit bigger and more like grander stories like this is. But I think more than anything, I really want to continue showing you guys games that you can play solo, like games like this that you can play completely on your own, like Mythwind, like Kinfire Delve, which I did before. Games that you could play with other people, but you could also just experience as a solo experience are some of my favorites. I love games that have that variability that I can play on my own or invite friends to play as well. So feel free to let me know any of those too. Two last little announcements. Of course, I'm going to remind you, if you enjoyed this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'd love to see you back here again sometime. I do want to also let you know that I do have a subscriber community on Bindery. It's very much like Patreon, except we are using the funds to also publish books. So we are working on House of Frank, which is by Kay Sinclair. That is coming out October 15th. People that are subscribed to Easy Cat Press will get to read the book first, which is really cool. The first chapter is actually currently available to read for Easy Cat Press subscribers. I'll put a link to that down below. I also have a free to join Discord, and I will put a link to that down below as well in case you are interested. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in the lands of Galzyr today. A quick final thank you to Snowdale Design for sending me a copy of this game. I knew I would love this. this, and I absolutely did. This is so, so great. This was just my cup of tea for sure. So I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for sending me a copy to explore on my own. And thank you for watching. I hope you had a good time, and as always, happy playing.